Tonight on CTV3 News, a ruling in favor of the BSEFA. The Court of Appeal dismisses an application by Tate & Lyle seeking to have a lawsuit filed by the association thrown out on jurisdictional grounds. The long-awaited trial of foster parents accused in the death of 4-year-old Ayanna Bennett is set to begin trial nearly 3 years after the tragic incident. In the world of politics, the municipal landscape intensifies in Corozal as there is talk for a convention. It's Veos faces Rogers. And the country mourns another journalist and Belizean icon. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Tuesday, June 9th, 2026.
This donation means a lot to us. It's a huge capacity building. We have a very good condition working ambulance that kind of expands our fleet. We already have one working ambulance, and we have another one now that doubles us. And we have one in repair, so we'll have about 3 or 4 ambulances available. Mr. Furr was kind enough to donate an X-ray machine, and that greatly increases our capacity as well to have X-rays done for our soldiers from various sports injuries and exercise-related injuries. And then we had a defibrillator from him as well, which again will help our doctors to assist not only soldiers, but patients from outside of the Ladyville community as well.
We had the equipment, but we did not have the personality, like it's the professionals on board. So for that reason, it's to be in contact with the BDF medics. So I realized that just bring it together, and then it's about supporting my own country.
Mr. Furr, your generosity demonstrates a profound sense of patriotism, compassion, and commitment to the development of Belize. Your willingness to support the Belize Defense Force reflects your understanding in that the security and well-being of our soldiers is vital to the security and the well-being of Belize.
This is a fantastic feeling to have a new roof over my head, brand new place. This is great.
You like your house? You love it?
Pretty.
I'm so happy and excited because I never may expect my new house. Too much months, the rent.
Now Cynthia had this opportunity. Thanks God and thanks to the People's United Party and thanks to the program that we push when we won, that we're going to give this starter house to humble families. Well, this is the evidence again.
I know Ms. Rochester is going to make sure that this home serves its purpose. I think she's ready for moving. And I think it's really important because it provides no stability for the entire family.
Not everybody could afford to go to bank, get one loan, and get one house, and this actually helps a lot of people, families, single mothers.
Owning a home transforms a family, and those things they're non-negotiable. You don't compromise on those things. So we have made it abundantly clear that when it comes to our social programs, we don't compromise. When it comes to housing, we're working to see if we can find even more funding to be able to expand this program and to have people have access to a real home.
Reunión especial St. Francis Xavier Credit Union Limited. El gobernador del Banco Central de Belice, el señor Karim Michael, en su calidad de registrador de cooperativas de crédito, por este medio informa al público que ha autorizado al administrador de St. Francis Xavier Credit Union Limited, el señor Marley Neal, a convocar una reunión especial. Dicha reunión se llevará a cabo el domingo 14 de junio de 2026 en el Corozal Community College, en el pueblo de Corozal, Belice. En la reunión especial se llevarán a cabo elecciones para una nueva junta directiva, así como para los comités de supervisión y de crédito. De conformidad con la autoridad del registrador bajo la sección 61.9 de la Ley de Cooperativas de Crédito, CUA por sus siglas en inglés, el administrador continuará dirigiendo las operaciones de St. Francis Xavier Credit Union por un periodo de 3 meses. El administrador ejecutará sus responsabilidades en colaboración con la Junta y los comités recién electos, con el fin de facilitar una transición ordenada y apoyar la estabilidad y viabilidad continua de St. Francis Xavier Credit Union. Este acuerdo de transición tiene como objetivo garantizar la continuidad de las medidas clave implementadas por el administrador para salvaguardar los intereses de los socios, entre las que se incluyen mantener el pago de dividendos a los socios propietarios y al mismo tiempo reducir la cartera de créditos morosos, fortalecer los controles internos para minimizar las pérdidas operativas, mejorar la eficacia de las funciones de cumplimiento, finanzas y auditoría interna, reducir las tasas de intereses en los préstamos para vivienda, de consumo y para el sector cañero, modernizar la plataforma de banca en línea, renovar las instalaciones de la oficina principal de la St. Francis Xavier Credit Union y ampliar las iniciativas de vinculación y alcance comunitario. Se exhorta firmemente a la membresía general de St. Francis Xavier Credit Union a actuar con la debida diligencia al elegir a personas calificadas y capaces, quienes continuarán con los esfuerzos del administrador para fortalecer la gobernanza, asegurar una supervisión eficaz y promover la sostenibilidad y rentabilidad a largo plazo de la cooperativa. En cumplimiento del mandato del registrador y en conformidad con las secciones 9.1a de la CUA, enmienda de 2023 y 2027.2 de la CUA, el registrador está facultado para llevar a cabo la debida diligencia sobre las personas electas y o designadas para ocupar cualquier cargo en St. Francis Xavier Credit Union a fin de determinar su idoneidad y honorabilidad. El registrador mantiene firme su compromiso de asegurar un sector de cooperativas de crédito seguro, sólido y resiliente, que opere en total conformidad con las normas regulatorias, fomente la confianza del público, protege los intereses de los depositantes y de los socios propietarios y contribuya de manera significativa a la inclusión financiera y al desarrollo económico de Belice.
The biggest soccer season is here. Are you ready to experience the front row from home? Experience stadium level immersion with Samsung's latest technology. Perfect for every room. Your favorite Crystal UHD and QLED smart TVs are ready for you. Now at the best price. From your 32-inch personal fan zone at just $369 to the massive 85-inch home stadium experience for only $2,579. We have the perfect upgrade for every fan. Get yours with confidence at Cellular World, the authorized distributor in Belize, and receive a 1-year warranty. Visit us today and take advantage of these promotions. Valid until June 15th. Upgrade to the front row at home. Experience with Samsung and Cellular World.
Newscast, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Jaden Gamis. The Court of Appeal has dismissed an application by Tate & Lyle Sugars, TLS, seeking to have a lawsuit filed by the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, the BSEFA, thrown out on a jurisdictional grounds. The dispute centers on millions of dollars in fair trade premiums that the BSEFA claims are owed by Belize Sugar Industries BSI, American Sugar Refining ASR, and Tate & Lyle Sugars. TLS had argued that the Belize courts did not have jurisdiction to hear the claim against the company. However, in a significant ruling, the Court of Appeal rejected that argument and upheld an earlier decision allowing the matter to proceed before the Belize courts. The ruling means that the BSEFA's claim against BSI, ASR, and TLS will continue to be heard in Belize. The court further ordered Tate & Lyle Sugars to file its response to the claim within 45 days, paving the way for the substantive issues in the case to be addressed. The lawsuit stems from allegations by the BSEFA that fair trade premiums generated through sugar sales were not properly paid, resulting in losses to cane farmers. The association maintains that the funds rightfully belong to Belizean sugar producers and has been pursuing legal action to recover the disputed amounts.
TNL, before filing any defense, challenged jurisdiction to say that, look, they're outside Belize, they're an English company outside Belize, and Belize doesn't have jurisdiction to hear this because they first said that there was no contract between the BSCFE and TNL Sugars that contained any
The Court of Appeal's decision represents an important procedural victory for the BSEFA as it clears a major legal hurdle and allows the case to move forward toward a full hearing on its merits.
The Court of Appeal dismissed their appeal and has awarded costs to BSCFA on this appeal. The court has given them 42 days to file a defense in this matter, and so we are anxious to see what that defense will be. But if we are to go by what we suspect, there will be more delay tactics to try to frustrate members of the BSAFA because they are the weaker bargaining party and they have been without the fair trade premiums for many years. And so we expect that T&L Sugars as well as BSI will try to delay and frustrate them with this court matter. But we do believe ultimately they will prevail, that this is just grossly unfair, that other members were paid and not the BSCFA members. So in a nutshell, that's what the case and the appeal was about. Thank you.
Jurisdiction issue now settled, attention will turn to the responses of the defendants and the eventual determination of the fair trade premium dispute before the Belizean courts. Marvin Denver Plett and Lena Plett appeared in Belmopan today to face manslaughter charges related to 4-year-old baby Ayana Bennett. The case originated in November of 2023 when Ayana was reported to have died while in foster care. Subsequent investigations revealed allegations that the young girl had been physically assaulted after she refused to participate in a learning activity. Ayana's death sent shockwaves through the nation, prompting widespread concern over the child protection measures, oversight of the foster care systems, and the safeguarding of vulnerable children placed in caregivers' homes. The Pletts have engaged attorney Leroy Banner to represent them throughout the upcoming proceedings. And today, he appeared virtually and requested for an adjournment. The request was granted and the case was adjourned to June 26th. As the trial unfolds, much focus will be placed on the evidence prosecutors plan to present, the defense's counter-arguments, and whether the court will establish criminal liability for Ayana's death. The courtroom action is expected to attract significant attention from child advocacy groups and the general public and anyone following the case since it first emerged. Read from 2020 Rosa Chinchilla murder case, co-defendant Santos Cepeda remains on trial in a recent development in the 2020 homicide case of Rosa Chinchilla, a Honduranian man who was previously charged alongside another suspect, has been formally released from trial. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, filed a novel prosequi, effectively discontinuing the murder charge against Angel Adolfo Garcia Alvarez in the High Court. Alvarez appeared before Justice Nigel Pilgrim on Monday, where the court officially discontinued the murder allegations against him. Meanwhile, his co-accused, 25-year-old Santos Eduardo Lopez Cepeda, believed to be a Guatemalan national, continues to face trial. The charges stem from the discovery of Rosa Chinchilla's body at her residence located at 34 Lindos Alley in Belize City on August 17, 2020. The 59-year-old woman was found with a wound on her neck, prompting investigations that led to the arrest of the two men. The Crown did not offer an explanation for the decision to drop the case against Alvarez during the court proceedings. However, it was noted that the move came shortly after Justice Pilgrim ruled the caution statement allegedly made by Alvarez to the police as inadmissible in court. Sources close to the case suggest that this statement was a key piece of evidence linking Alvarez to the crime. With its exclusion, authorities reportedly felt that the remaining evidence was insufficient to proceed with prosecution against him. Despite the discontinuation of the murder charge, Alvarez was not immediately released into the community. Instead, he was taken into custody by Belize Immigration Department officials. Sources indicate that Alvarez is now facing an immigration-related charge for being considered a prohibited immigrant. Immigration authorities are reportedly seeking to deport him under Act Section 5 of the Immigration Act rather than imposing a monetary fine. Alvarez is expected to be transferred to the Belmopan Immigration Office, which handles deportations and expulsions. Meanwhile, the trial of Cepeda continued on Monday afternoon before Justice Pilgrim, with proceedings ongoing in the High Court. Coming up next, the race for mayor and councillors takes shape in Corozal. Stay tuned.
Reunión especial St. Francis Xavier Credit Union Limited. El gobernador del Banco Central de Belice, el señor Karim Michael, en su calidad de registrador de cooperativas de crédito, por este medio informa al público que ha autorizado al administrador de St. Francis Xavier Credit Union Limited, el señor Marley Neal, a convocar una reunión especial. Dicha reunión se llevará a cabo el domingo 14 de junio de 2026 en el Corozal Community College, en el pueblo de Corozal, Belice. En la reunión especial se llevarán a cabo elecciones para una nueva junta directiva, así como para los comités de supervisión y de crédito. De conformidad con la autoridad del registrador bajo la sección 61.9 de la Ley de Cooperativas de Crédito, CUA por sus siglas en inglés, el administrador continuará dirigiendo las operaciones de St. Francis Xavier Credit Union por un periodo de 3 meses. El administrador ejecutará sus responsabilidades en colaboración con la Junta y los comités recién electos, con el fin de facilitar una transición ordenada y apoyar la estabilidad y viabilidad continua de St. Francis Xavier Credit Union. Este acuerdo de transición tiene como objetivo garantizar la continuidad de las medidas clave implementadas por el administrador para salvaguardar los intereses de los socios, entre las que se incluyen mantener el pago de dividendos a los socios propietarios y al mismo tiempo reducir la cartera de créditos morosos, fortalecer los controles internos para minimizar las pérdidas operativas, mejorar la eficacia de las funciones de cumplimiento, finanzas y auditoría interna, reducir las tasas de intereses en los préstamos para vivienda, de consumo y para el sector cañero, modernizar la plataforma de banca en línea, renovar las instalaciones de la oficina principal de la St. Francis Xavier Credit Union y ampliar las iniciativas de vinculación y alcance comunitario. Se exhorta firmemente a la membresía general de St. Francis Xavier Credit Union a actuar con la debida diligencia al elegir a personas calificadas y capaces, quienes continuarán con los esfuerzos del administrador para fortalecer la gobernanza, asegurar una supervisión eficaz y promover la sostenibilidad y rentabilidad a largo plazo de la cooperativa. En cumplimiento del mandato del registrador y en conformidad con las secciones 9.1a de la CUA, enmienda de 2023 y 2027-2 de la CUA, el registrador está facultado para llevar a cabo la debida diligencia sobre las personas electas y o designadas para ocupar cualquier cargo en St. Francis Xavier Credit Union a fin de determinar su idoneidad y honorabilidad. El registrador mantiene firme su compromiso de asegurar un sector de cooperativas de crédito seguro, sólido y resiliente, que opere en total conformidad con las normas regulatorias, fomente la confianza del público, protege los intereses de los depositantes y de los socios propietarios y contribuya de manera significativa a la inclusión financiera y al desarrollo económico de Belice.
I was in Belmopan, then I used to go do my NHI in Belize. Then I came back home in Palma. And when I found out that NHI was here, I said, right, that's the perfect thing for me. So I don't have to travel, you know? It's very affordable. That's the main point. And you don't have to wait too long. You know, sometimes you go to hospital, you have to go from the morning, whole day. But you come to the NHI at your clinic, you have access for doctors, you do your blood tests, urine tests, everything. I mean, it's very, very affordable. So if they not take the opportunity, they don't want nothing. The doctors, them, the nurses, oh my, they are so, you could question them. They give you answer to everything. And well, me, I see good result. And I have no complaint with the NHI itself. No complaint.
I'm getting older and I need more medical attention, and this is perfect for me, because previous to that, I only went to the hospital if I had an emergency. I had a brother-in-law, and he was not feeling too good. And he said he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, you need to get a good checkup. And he said, but I need to work and make some money so I can address this issue. It happened that we were working by Santana. He got worse. I had to come to New York. The next morning, Carlos, they took him to Belize. Before the day was up, he was dead. His pressure skyrocketed, and he couldn't be helped. He passed away. And that has repeated itself many times, simply because we didn't have what we have now. It's something very good for me. We've never had it before. And I see a lot of people participate. They come and they are grateful, just like myself, that this service is available.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
connected in the USA for as low as $10. With Smart Roaming Data Pass, staying connected is simple and affordable. Get the data you need starting at 1,000 megabytes to stay connected to larger plans that keep you online while you travel across the USA. So you can message, browse, video call, and navigate wherever you go. No SIM swap, no bill shock. Just simple, affordable pricing. Activate easily by dialing *100# using the Smart app or online. Smart Roaming Data Pass. Staying connected the smart way. Smart, bringing people together.
Belize's municipal political landscape is intensifying as preparations for the 2027 elections gain momentum across the country. With candidates beginning to emerge, the upcoming campaign season promises to be competitive and dynamic. In Corozal, the race for mayor is already taking shape. Incumbent three-term Mayor Rigo Veos faces a challenge from a fresh contender, Shahiri Rogers, who is leading a new team via for the mayoral seat. Rogers' entry signals a potential shift in local politics as residents prepare to choose between the experienced leadership of Veos and the new vision proposed by Rogers. The People's United Party, or the PUP, has announced that the window for candidates to submit their applications remains open from June 1st to June 19th of 2026. But should a three-term mayor face a convention? That question was asked to the PUP chairman, Henry Charles Usher. The democratic nature of the party allows for challenges and contests.
First of all, from a party perspective, the National Executive opened the window for persons to apply for all municipal slates on June the 1st. That window closes on June the 19th. So we don't know in terms of all the 9 municipalities what municipalities there will be challenges in or there may be endorsements in. Corozal, as you said, they are already out of the gate. They are campaigning, and we have 2 slates on the ground. You know, this is a democratic party. Anybody can be challenged, and certainly I believe that Mayor Rigo welcomes the challenge to prove to the people and to show the people that he has done his work and he is willing to go to them to ask for their endorsement once again. Also, you have a team led by Ms. Shari Rogers, dynamic team also, and they are ones that they believe that they want to offer themselves as service to the people of Corozal. We welcome it as a party.
After being 3-time mayor, do you believe that he should be going to a convention?
That's a decision for the people to decide. As chairman, I never make those types of decisions. I allow the people from the areas, from the municipalities, from the constituencies, if it is a general election, to make that decision. Persons are free to apply. The party opened the window. It then goes to a vetting committee composed of members of the National Campaign Committee, Communications Committee, and other members, and then the National Executive makes the final decision. So it's a team decision, it's a party decision, and every person who is an elected representative in this party is subject to being challenged. So that is in our constitution.
Who are you supporting?
I oversee all conventions, Jaliza. There's no way I would be able to make a comment like that, but I will say that I'm always supporting the people.
Anyone interested can apply, and once applications are submitted, they go through a vetting process involving various party committees. Ultimately, the National Executive makes the final decision. Every elected representative is subject to challenge, ensuring a fair and competitive process, he stated. As the campaign season approaches, political activity is set to intensify, with parties and candidates eager to connect with constituents and solidify their support for the upcoming 2027 elections. The outcome in Corozal and other municipalities will undoubtedly influence the political landscape for the years to come. As it had been widely reported this week, former Ombudsman Major retired Gilbert Suezo has filed a constitutional claim against the Attorney General of Belize, alleging that the government failed to uphold the constitutional protections attached to the office of the Ombudsman and interfered with the independence of the office. In the lawsuit, Suazo contends that the government did not comply with provisions of the Constitution and the Ombudsman Act regarding the remuneration and benefits of the Ombudsman. He claims that throughout his tenure, he repeatedly wrote to the government requesting that his salary and benefits be adjusted to reflect what he says he was legally entitled to receive under the law. According to Suazo, those requests went unanswered and the payments were never made.
The Office of the Ombudsman. The case arises out of what I know to be the failure on behalf of government to abide by the Constitution, particularly Section 118 of the Constitution of Belize and the Section 8 of the Ombudsman Act. So this case is certainly not about Gilbert Suazo, but rather about ensuring the constitutional safeguard of that office.
Gilbert Suazo, former ombudsman, as Belizeans now may know, no. While the claim seeks compensation, Suezo says the case is not primarily about a specific dollar amount. Instead, he argues that it concerns the government's failure to respect the legal safeguards designed to protect the independence and integrity of the office of the Ombudsman.
You may recall that the request was made in October of 2025. I did not receive any official correspondence until the 24th of December. So certainly, even perhaps the labor law would indicate or suggest that due notice have to be given to any employee prior to the termination of employment. Furthermore, based on the Act, there is a procedure in relation to the appointment of the Ombudsman, which requires that it goes to the House. And we know that on the 24th, there wouldn't have been any more chance at all, because the meeting that was held regarding the House, they had two House meetings, one in November, I think it was the 20th, and one in December, I believe, I recall it may have been the 12th of December. And the matter of re-engagement was not raised at all in the House, in the minutes of those meetings at all. So obviously, there was no intent. I'm getting a letter from the Cabinet Secretary, which again appears to be improper or could be reasonably state that it is an executive overreach, again, the court will look at those matters. And so certainly there were what I believe violations to the process.
The former ombudsman is also questioning the circumstances surrounding the non-renewal of his appointment. Suazo believes that the decision may have been influenced by a Freedom of Information ruling he issued during his tenure.
What my functions as ombudsman, what my functions were or are, I certainly took that to be very serious. And I believe that the oath of office also guarantees that I do the work or the job of the ombudsman without any fear, without any favor. And even the Ombudsman Act, with therein legally mandates that this office of the ombudsman is an independent institution and takes no legal directions from any member of the executive. That is the law, and that is what I try to work within the confines of the law. And even when I had the opportunity to be making any presentation about the office of the ombudsman, I was asked those same questions, and I stated in those presentations that I will do my job as expected, diligently, without any fear or favor. And if it is that there will be any consequences, then so be it. However, while that is so, I expected that other people who took oath of office will also obey the Constitution and the laws of Belize.
Suazo alleges that the administration's actions amounted to interference in the work of an independent constitutional office and says the case carries broader implications beyond his personal circumstances.
As I recall, there is contained in the filing, which, as I said, I cannot get into much details as this case is already in front of the court. But it will, the memorandum of 2023, I believe it is January, that came from the financial secretary, stipulates exactly what the salary of what the minimum salary for a high court judge is to be. And that, according to that constitution, to that memorandum, is $175,000 tax free. Now, as I indicated, that is known by the government because it's a government representative who sent out that memorandum for and on behalf of the government and the Ministry of Finance. The Constitution and the Ombudsman Act legally mandate what the salary of the ombudsman ought to be. And consistently, when I became fully aware of those legal stipulations, that was brought up consistently with no official response. So I think that is what have us here, because it's a continuous disregard for the rule of law and the violation of the Constitution and the Ombudsman Act. And I believe that that also tampers with the independence of that office, because that is one of the safeguards to ensure that that office remains independent.
The office today remains without an ombudsman since Suazo's departure in late 2025. Suazo says there are processes within the office that can only be carried out by one holding the title of ombudsman.
We refer you back to the Ombudsman Act. The Ombudsman Act clearly laid out the legal responsibilities of the ombudsman, amongst which it specifically stated that only the ombudsman can initiate an investigation, only the ombudsman can conclude or terminate an investigation, and only the ombudsman can continue an investigation. So essentially, the staff who works for and on behalf of the ombudsman can only collect a complaint and file that complaint. Nothing else can happen. And that is there in the Ombudsman Act.
The constitutional claim has been assigned to Justice Gunteli and is scheduled to be heard in the High Court on July 14th. Minister of Public Service Henry Usher is responding to the allegations made by former Ombudsman Major Gilbert Suazo in his constitutional claim against the government of Belize. According to court filings submitted by Suazo's attorney, senior counsel Anad Rangolan, the former ombudsman concerns came to a head in December of 2025, shortly before the expiration of his 3-year term. In an affidavit filed before the court, Suazo recounts a meeting held on December 22nd of 2025 with the Minister Usher at the Holy Redeemer Credit Union office. Suazo alleges that during the meeting, Minister Usher raised concerns about a Freedom of Information Act review decision issued by the Ombudsman's office. The ruling had recommended that the government disclose how much public money was spent on private attorneys and law firms involving in the politically sensitive redistricting case. According to Suazo, Usher expressed concern about what he described as an adverse ruling against the government. Suazo further alleges that the minister questioned whether he had personally authored the decision letter, an allegation the former ombudsman describes as false and baseless. The meeting now forms part of Suazo's constitutional claim in which he alleges interference with the independence of the office of the ombudsman and challenges the circumstances surrounding the non-renewal of his appointment. Speaking to the media today, Minister Usher acknowledged that the conversation took place, but said it was never intended to carry the implications now being attributed to it. Mr. Usher maintained the discussion has been taken further than it was meant to go and rejected suggestions that the government sought to improperly influence the work of the Ombudsman's office.
Major Suazo and I have known each other for many years. When he was in the BDF, when he ran and won as a mayoral candidate for the People's United Party in Dangriga, when he demitted office and was a businessman, he owned a restaurant, when he was at the port, and as ombudsman. So he and I have had hundreds of conversations in our private capacity as Henry Usher and Gilbert Suazo. Last year, he called me because he was traveling for a family event in the US. He said, "Can we meet in Belize City?" I said, "Sure, I'm in Belize City, come and see me." I would never believe that this would have ended up in some kind of lawsuit or in an affidavit. But in that conversation, I can certainly recall we spoke about his family, we spoke about him traveling, and he brought up the fact that his contract was coming to an end. I think it was coming to an end on December 31st. As you know, Jaliza, the appointment, and if the contract comes to an end, the reappointment of an ombudsman, that is done by the Governor General after a process. So you have the House of Representatives has to pass a resolution, the Senate has to pass a resolution, and even before that it goes to a House committee. I don't sit on that House committee. And I made that very clear to him. I said, listen, that is something that you will have to take up when the House committee convenes and if you intend to renew your contract. There's no way, in no world am I in any way able to influence the contract of the ombudsman. So that is really fantasy for a conclusion to be drawn like that. On the other point, on the point of the letter writing, I was actually paying him a compliment, because I said, man, you always putting out these letters and responses so fast. I said, do you have a ghostwriter writing for you? Because as far as I know, he's a one-man operation. He has a small staff, yes, but he is really efficient in terms of putting out these letters. So that's what I told him. I said, man, you really are efficient in putting out these letters. Do you have somebody else writing for you? It was intended as a joke. Certainly it wasn't intended to cast any or aspersions against him. And, if I did, certainly I apologize, but that was never the intention.
2 days later, Swazo got a letter of his non-renewal. Is that a reflection of what he said that, quote, the government was not pleased in his finding against the Attorney General?
In terms of my scope of knowledge, absolutely not. And like I said, I have no ability. It is fantasy to believe that I can in any way influence the contract of the ombudsman. There's a House committee. I don't sit on the House committee. That House committee makes the recommendations. There is then a resolution in the House and in the Senate before it goes to the Governor General.
Do you believe that, as stated in the Ombudsman Act, that Mr. Swazo should have been compensated the same as a judge at the High Court?
Well, I think that the Attorney General has already reviewed the sections of the Ombudsman's Act. It does speak about being compensated at that level. Of course, when that Ombudsman's Act was written, the compensation for judges was much lower, more in line to where the contract for the ombudsman, previous ombudsman, and this current ombudsman was. But that's an answer that only the Attorney General can give.
As previously mentioned, the matter is expected to be examined in greater detail when Swazo's constitutional claim comes before the High Courts. The case has been assigned to Justice Gundalik and is scheduled for hearing on July 14th. There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
This is a fantastic feeling to have a new roof over my head, brand new place. This is great.
You like your house? You love it?
Pretty. I'm so happy and excited because I never may expect my little house. Too much months, the rent.
Now Cynthia had this opportunity. Thanks God and thanks to the People's United Party and thanks to the program that we push when we won, that we're going to give this starter house to humble families. Well, this is the evidence again.
I know Ms. Rochester is going to make sure that this home serves its purpose. I think she's ready for moving. And I think it's really important because it provides now stability for the entire family.
Not everybody could afford to go to a bank, get one loan and get one house. And this actually helped a lot of people, families, single mothers.
Owning a home transforms a family. And those things, they're non-negotiable. You don't compromise on those things. So we have made it abundantly clear that when it comes to our social programs, we don't compromise. When it comes to housing, we're working to see if we can find even more funding to be able to expand this program and to have people have access to a real home.
In the eastern Pacific Ocean near Nicaragua, Tropical Storm Cristina has officially taken shape, marking the first significant tropical storm to pose a threat to Central America during the 2026 hurricane season. The U.S. National Hurricane Center, NHSC, reported that Cristina evolved from a tropical depression, 3E, earlier Monday afternoon. This storm is currently situated roughly 105 miles northwest of Managua, Nicaragua, with a maximum sustained winds reaching 45 miles per hour. Its movements remain sluggish, drifting northeast at approximately 3 miles per hour. A tropical storm warning has been issued along the Pacific coastline from Puerto Rico, Sandino, in Nicaragua, extending to the border between Guatemala and El Salvador. Authorities in Nicaragua and El Salvador are actively monitoring the storm as it is expected to remain near the coast for several days, potentially bringing significant weather impacts. Forecasters warn that Christina's primary hazard will be heavy rainfall, which could lead to dangerous flash floods and landslides across several Central American nations, including Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala through midweek. Residents in Belize District should stay alert as the storm's prolonged rainfall could impact the local communities. The NHC anticipates widespread rainfall totals between 4 to 8 inches, with some isolated areas experiencing up to 12 inches. Vulnerable regions, especially low-lying and mountainous zones, are heightened risk for flooding and mudslides. Although Christina is projected to weaken gradually by midweek, its slow progression may extend heavy rainfall, increasing the potential for regional flooding. This marks the second named storm of the Eastern Pacific hurricane season, following Tropical Storm Boris, which recently formed off of Mexico's Pacific coast before making landfall and dissipating over southern Mexico on Tuesday. Belize is tonight mourning the loss of a beloved cultural icon as Eufemio Cruz, widely known as Brother Fem, passed away this morning at the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital. The respected journalist, musician, and man of faith succumbed around 11:30 a.m. after sustaining injuries from a fall at his home, according to reports. For many Belizeans, Brother Fem's voice was a comforting and familiar sound in their daily lives. His broadcasting career spanned years, beginning as a correspondent for Love FM and Plus TV. He later became a familiar face on Plus TV's popular morning show, Rise and Shine, where he co-hosted alongside director Louis Wade. Beyond his media presence, those close to him knew him as a humble, dedicated individual whose influence extended far beyond the camera. Throughout his life, Cruz was more than a broadcaster. He was a mentor, a minister, a talented musician, and a steadfast friend who shunned the spotlight in favor of a genuine service. His passing comes less than a month after the death of fellow media professional Aaron Humes, who suffered a heart attack at home. Cruz is now the fourth member of Belize's media community to pass within recent months. Ruben Morales Iglesias died on March 16th, while freelance journalist Roy Davis passed away on February 26th. Humes died just last month on May 19th, and Brother Fem's contributions to Belize's cultural landscape were significant. As a celebrated musician and longtime television personality, his warmth, humor, and authentic connection with viewers endeared him to many. His presence on screen and in the community helped shape a generation of Belizeans, leaving behind a legacy of service, faith, and cultural pride. His death marks the end of an era for Belize's media and cultural sectors, but his impact will undoubtedly be remembered for the years to come. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Wednesday, June 10th, here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews. Or you can visit our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3, thank you for watching and listening, and have a splendid night.